Welcome back to Squelch, the video game book club. I'm Dano.
I'm Matt at Arms.
And I'm Stormreach. We're here to remind you that Dragon Age Inquisition is a game and that games are supposed to be fun.
Great success this week on that front. Congratulations to all involved with making this DLC. We did play the Trespasser DLC for Dragon Age Inquisition, which does finish Dragon Age Inquisition. And tip of the cap, drop the applause drop here. What a way to finish a video game. Like, legitimately, what a way to finish a video game. Very impressive. Absolutely loved it. And next week, we are starting with Dispatch, which I already started playing. Much more hectic and stressful than I anticipated to be. I'm like literally on the edge of my street. Like the hacking is just sweat inducing. And then like okay, do I dare? Okay, if I send this one right now, I think she can handle it, and then that will free up these two for. It's a lot of fun, but yeah, can't wait to talk about it more. We are going to play through chapters 1 through 3 next week. Oh, just so you all know, there is a censored version, and like ultimate censored, where like it censors like things that you might not want children to see, nudity and whatnot. And then there are beeps of swears, so many swears, and much more nudity than you would expect in a video game.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
They do. I'll be honest. I'm playing censored with. It's just like little black boxes, and I do truly believe it is maybe the most fun way to play the game because it is very funny. But yeah. So if you are worried, it is an R-rated game. So if you are worried about that, they do have like censored versions, that kind of stuff, which I very much appreciated. Otherwise, this was a game I could not play. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I know people love it when we talk about a game that we haven't played yet. Historically, that's been a great success for people. So I want to kind of highlight just a brief preview of Dispatch. We've already talked about how it is very, very adult, very R-rated. It is. Be aware of that going in. Check those censorship things beforehand, just to be on the safe side. And then we're playing chapters 1 through 3. Each chapter... Yeah, Matt, go ahead.
It's made by the same people who made Vox Machina, if you're aware of that at all.
Yes.
Critical Role.
That is also not... Yeah, it's Critical Role. That is also not appropriate for children. I found that out.
Also correct. And I will also note, like, in addition to difficulty settings, you can also do a lot... Or in addition to nudity settings, you can also do difficulty settings. So there are things that... make certain things easier or give you unlimited attempts. So, like, if you are somebody that doesn't like the gameplay style, there's a ton of options in the game. Take a look at them. Just be aware that those options do exist. And then we're playing chapters 1 through 3 next week. Each chapter is about an hour if you play through it just once. And so each week will be about 3 hours, which is a little less than the normal game time that we run for Squelch. But there's going to be a ton of story in those 3 chapters, and we want to make sure that our podcast episodes don't run 4 hours.
Yes, which we tended to do in the past. One thing I will say about this game, and this is from a habitual restarter of things when I don't like what I have done. This game, there will be in the top left-hand side of the screen, it will say so-and-so likes this, or so-and-so remembers this, or that kind of stuff. I would say, like, and then there are timed reactions. So there are conversation trees, and you have a limited amount of time to answer them. Stick with what you did. I'll be completely honest, because I went back and tried to redo a couple of times, and like, I didn't like how that went, or I think I would do that differently. And honestly, I think every time I went back to my initial reaction, I also think it gives a more like legitimate feel and playthrough. I do like the timed reactions quite a bit. So just like a hint from a habitual restarter of things, just kind of go with it. Just kind of go with it. I would say that's my bit of advice from you who is playing this game. So
yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. This is exciting. Storm Rage has an objection. Do I have the
Better. I'll do it if you like.
I don't have it. Hold on. Everybody wait. Hold on. I can
Objection!
Do this. I can do this.
Objection.
I can fix this. This. Okay, I go to
objection.
My deck.
Objection.
No, remind me later. I don't want to update right now. And I click on the objection, and I gotta go and find. Nope. Okay, it's the right place. Output is wrong. Choose the correct output.
Objection.
There are many outputs. That output and
objection! 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 Objection!
I hope you leave every second of that in the final edit.
I will.
Objection! 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 Objection!
Yes, Storm Rage.
I have two objections. Last week I was gone, and Matt, at no point in the intro did anyone have the Storm Rage energy of "and I'm mad at arms," and I didn't know what I was listening to anymore. It felt like it was a different podcast, and without that greeting, it really threw me. And we got to tea with Finley, and no one said slurp, slurp, slurp. So I didn't know if tea with Finley had officially begun or not.
Excuse me, sir. I distinctly remember saying slurp, slurp, slurp at one point.
But you didn't mean it. You didn't say it with your heart. You said it with your mouth, but not with your heart. You weren't actually slurping, Matt, and that's what I wanted to highlight.
These are fair objections.
Slurp, slurp, slurp.
There we go. That's better. I'll take those slurps any day, Matt. That's all I had.
Okay. That's perfect. No notes.
I do like that my bit was shorter than you looking for the drop.
It was. No.
We're having a show, folks. This is the show.
Let's go thank some patrons.
Thanks. I am pretty incredible.
Hey, patrons and Twitch subs, thank you so
Thank.
You know what? It's been a week, and there wasn't the same energy last week in the thanks and the slurps, and so therefore it was tough to remember. Thank you so much, Paige, the Twitch sub. Your support keeps the podcast ticking. If you want to support the show, head over to twitch.tv/DanoPlayer, patreon.com/Squelch. Thanks everyone who supports us by listening or chatting in our Discord or talking to your mom about the podcast or whatever you want to do. It's all awesome, and we love all of you. Thank you so very, very much. You know what? A big thank you to Doc McButt, who, by the way, reached out this weekend, and goodness gravy, like, meant the world to me, and just like, thanks, Doc, just thanks. I needed that. So appreciated it. And thanks. That was very, very nice. So.
I'm gonna second Doc here. For one, being just a really cool person.
Yes.
And two, he's part of like my local friends Discord, and I posted in there that we were gonna play Blood on the Clock Tower, aka Dano's favorite game. And if anybody was interested, let me know. And Doc lives about an hour and a half away, and he was like, "I'll be there." And I was like, "You're gonna drive an hour and a half for a single night of Blood on the Clock Tower?" Sure did. That's commitment.
Truly, honestly, meeting Doc was one of the highlights of last calendar year. If I'm being completely honest, what a genuinely great person. I mean, honestly, BlizzCon itself was a ton of fun, and it was everyone who was there. It was fantastic. So, but thank you, Doc, for thinking of us and our family and everyone here. It meant a lot to me. So.
This one's a real page-turner.
We've got some new lore because we kind of like this is the last episode of Dragon Age Inquisition, and it was kind of the last chance to really get to talk to our friends. We'll talk about this here shortly, but it has been 2 years. That's kind of how this goes. So we're 2 years in the future. So everyone's kind of had 2 years to kind of move on with their lives in some cases. And so we kind of got to meet them one last time, see how they're doing, catch up with our best friends. And it was kind of great. So first up was Cullen. He is still running the force of the Inquisition, still wearing that sweet, sweet uniform. And he found a dog and was like, hey, this is my dog now. And now they are best friends. And you know what? No notes.
Yep.
It's perfect. Great.
No
Good for him.
notes.
Yeah.
He deserves this ending after all he's been through.
And he's just sitting there like petting the dog the entire time. It's kind of wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Josephine, she's our main diplomat, and then in this we go with her to an Orlesian play, and it's just an absolutely amazing scene. It's just a perfect scene.
It's very good.
Can
Liliana,
I,
she is, of course.
Sorry, can I talk
Go
about
ahead,
this
Dano.
Orlesian play real quick? So the way that this whole scene kind of goes out. So we show up to the Winter Palace in Orlais, and you go and you talk to all our friends. And the first person I went to talk to was Vivian. She was the closest one to me. Or Josephine, sorry, Josephine. I go up and I talk to Josephine, and there's a time cut, and it's night. And all of a sudden, Josephine's talking to me, and I was like, what is happening in this expansion? I'm like, is this we got like a Star Trek thing going on? And so I picked the option, what just happened? Thinking that like, I have lost my memory. I have been transported. And she's like, I know, right? That's how they go. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I get transported back. I was like, oh, it was just, we went into the thing. Oh, okay. I was like, oh my gosh, wow, my mind is blown. It's like some kind of like crazy like Star Trek, we're being transported around places and we're losing our memories because the Inquisitor looks genuinely confused at what just happened.
Yeah.
So I'm like, are we both experiencing the same thing right now where we just don't know what that time cut was? Like, time has moved forward. What happened? Why has we moved forward in time? It was just the game letting us go to the opera, and then we go back to, it was just like a weird cutscene situation, but I was like, oh my gosh. Sorry, I cut you. Liliana.
Liliana is, of course, our former spy master, and she is now the Divine, and she has a great hat.
She's not the Divine. She's actually still just our spy master, and she's hanging out in the hallway doing spy things. Because we have different endings. That's how. So there's gonna be a lot of that actually. So just we all have kind of different. Like, what's kind of cool about this was I didn't realize how different things went depending on decisions we made. So she's not my Divine. So she's kind of like chilling with us. And she's like, I'm with you forever on this like stuff. Like how you want to handle this, I'm following you. I'm like, cool, let's do that. Awesome. Matt Blackwall.
We got Blackwall.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone. He just disappeared. He's not available. And there's a guy named Billy something. I don't know. Like, in my thing just crossed out. So I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, he's gone on mine too. I let him rot in jail. So he's not part of this. He's not available.
For mine, he's finally going by Tom Rainier as his name instead of Blackwall.
Nice.
Oh, that's
and he
name
went
than
to the
Blackwall.
people that he wronged in his past life and was like, hey, this is what I did. What do you want to do? And people were like, we're going to beat you up for it. And he was like, that's fair. You can beat me up. So they just literally beat him until they were satisfied.
Okay.
Good. Dark. It's kind of how I felt about it too. He was a genuinely bad person. I'm glad he's going by Tom Rainier knowing that there was a redemption arc. That's good.
Yeah.
Cassandra.
Then we have Cassandra, who is doing secret things, grabbing that knowledge. Definitely not the Divine. And Varric plays a joke on her, saying that you are going to propose to Cassandra. And you can either be like, turns out not a joke, pretty good idea. Or you'd be like, what a silly joke. We'd never get married. And she goes, well, maybe down the road, but not right now would be insane. Don't propose to me right now. It's crazy town here.
So she's the divine, actually. So you're wrong. She's still doing secret things, yes, but as the divine, and she's very busy doing the divine things, and she looks very funny in her divine outfit, not gonna lie. She does get very cool divine armor though. So she has like this like all gold like divine only armor. Very cool. And Varric did play the trick on her that I was going to propose to Josephine. And she's like, I totally support you if that's what you want to do. I was like, cool, because you know what? I think it's a pretty good idea. She's like, great, I love that for you. I was like, thanks, Cassandra. I'm glad I have your back and you have mine. Best friends forever, fist bump. That didn't happen, but in my mind, it happened. So, my mind.
So yeah, so Varric played the trick on her that she thought I was going to get married, but she didn't specify to who. Like it would have been like an arranged like business type marriage type situation, right?
Gotcha.
So yeah, and then she was just like, so like you shouldn't get married if it's like if it doesn't, you know, she basically just like if you want to, it's fine, but I would really prefer you don't type situation.
Nice. So she doesn't want you to get into like arranged political marriage.
Correct.
You know, good for her. Appreciate that.
Right? Yeah.
How about Cole?
All right. Cole, he's mostly invisible to most people since I chose the spirit option. He's also helping Krem and the Bard get together, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. So in my playthrough, I had him become a real boy, and he himself is dating the Bard now. And people see him just fine, and they talk about how nice he is and how he is always helping people and he's always looking out for them. And then at the end of the game, he and the Bard like walk off into the sunset. It's truly wonderful. It's just truly a great moment.
It's really cute.
I guess Dorian, he's the Tevinter ambassador because his dad doesn't want him around Tevinter at all. That's basically the reason why he's the Tevinter ambassador.
Yeah. Iron Bull, Bull's Chargers are still going strong, and we distract him with a small talk while the Chargers give him a dragon head, which is awesome. I don't want to know what happens if the Chargers aren't around, because preview could go bad for you if that's the case.
Yes.
So Sarah is still doing Red Jenny things. Her and the other 3 Red Jennies asked my Inquisitor to become a Red Jenny, and I said, yeah, I'd love to become a Red Jenny. And so now I'm a Red Jenny, and we do Red Jenny things, and it's awesome, and I love it. So I am the Inquisitor and a Red Jenny.
That's awesome. I got Solus. We'll talk about him in a bit.
Then Varric, he's the new Viscount of Kirkwall, so he's in charge of Kirkwall, and he uses his position to make sure that his friends are well taken care of. He hands us a key to the city, and there's this advisor who's with him who's like, you can't do that. And Varric went, well, I did. Too bad. And he goes, don't worry, it's nothing but ceremonial. And the advisor goes, actually, that releases the giant chains in the harbor. And he goes, wow, this is an even better present than I thought it would be. It's awesome.
He does name drop what's her name, the Aveline, in like one of the dialogue.
He does. He talks quite a bit about like the people of Kirkwall, which I really appreciate. Or a couple of them actually, in Kirkwall, which I appreciate.
like Josephine, I think that's about, or Aveline, and that's about
Donick,
it, I think, unless Hawk. Yeah, Hawk. Donick. Yeah. Hawk. If Hawk is still alive. Oops.
Oops,
Vivian says she's rebuilding the circle and not calling the circle because changing the name totally fixes all the problems.
It's funny because in mine she is remaking the circle as it was, and there is a rival like mages guild that is
the College of Mages or whatever.
Yeah, who are like we're not like all cool with like maybe the mages having to live under constant watch and supervision of a paramilitary organization. And you know what? Mood. So
I think the rename for like the Circle of Mages was a different geometric shape. I'm not sure what it was though.
Yeah, I thought it was the circle. I could be wrong and just misremembered it. So,
yeah.
Should we get into the recap?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
As of this moment, I declare the Inquisition reborn.
All right. So we're at the winter. So we're going to, after we go to the Winter Palace. It's been 2 years after we killed Coryphus, and now we got to figure out what we have to do with the Inquisition. Now the main threat of all time is finished. No other threats will ever happen again. Josephine tells us that Orlais is looking to take over, while Ferelden is looking to dismantle the Inquisition. Sounds great and all, but honestly, we just came here to hang out with our friends we haven't seen for a couple of years. The friends that are, one, still alive, and two, not an ancient elven god called the Dreadwolf. Or three, actually still like it. We talked to the two ambassadors, and they tell us exactly what Josephine said, but in much more language, like most politicians do. And after finding everything there was to be found, and there's a lot to find, quite honestly, a lot of things to do, and catching up with all our friends, we can start the council if we want to.
Yeah. So, did you guys have that one priestess lady come up to you who did the singing and ask you if what you wanted to do with the Inquisition? So she's like, "Do you plan on dismantling it or keeping it together?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the Madam Lady Giselle, right? That's
yeah, I think that's right. I could never remember her name. But I remember talking to her. I had a special option, was like, well, you told me that, the original Inquisition hung up its swords when the time was done, and that's what I intend to do. So that's what I ended up choosing, because that was kind of like, I'm playing the good religious, true believer. And I was like, yeah, I don't intend to keep the Inquisition going. Though I will be honest, after talking to the doofuses at Ferelden, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to keep it going out of spite. So I came into this the expansion being like, yeah, I'm going to dismantle the Inquisition, because I don't see. I think that's kind of how this. This isn't someone who looked for power. This is the way the person I was role playing, at least. She was not looking for power. She did it because she had to, because this was thrust upon her. And she is ready to go back to just being a normal person when this is all done. And then like the Freldens were like, hey, you guys are awful and worthless, and you shouldn't even be around. And by the way, you took over some of our land. I was like, I helped. It was taken over by bandits. You weren't doing anything. And so I helped your people. And they're like, no, nuh-uh. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to keep the Inquisition around because you suck. So I genuinely didn't know what I was going to do after that conversation.
So yeah, the council's on. So we can walk into the gates and get the council underway. And quickly into the cutscene, an elf comes up and interrupts us, saying that Liliana has to speak with us very, very urgently. And we're confused because Liliana's sitting up there and can't say that. So we just look at her, and she just gives us like, "Go, idiot!" look. Anyway, we stand up. We say, "Hey, we have an emergent matter to tend to. Josephine, take over for me." Josephine's not really pleased. Liliana calls her recess, and then we go meet with Liliana and find a dead Canary in full armor in the palace. We follow a trail of blood.
Real quick,
yeah.
Did we talk about why this council is being called?
Thought we just did.
Well, like we know that they're trying to disband the Inquisition, but like the different aspects of why they're trying to dissuade or break up the Inquisition.
I don't think we did. You can go ahead and what is it?
Yeah.
So on one end is Orlais, who kind of wants the Inquisition to kind of stick around depending on how you handled their plot line, but they mostly want you to stick around so they can use you in other ways. And then there is, God, what's the other is it Ferelden? That's not right, is it?
Ferelden, yep. Yeah,
it's Ferelden.
Okay. Ferelden that are like, hey, your troops have been here for too long. You need to just get out, full stop. And so you kind of got the Inquisition must disband, get out of our lands, and Inquisition can stick around, but really only if we get to use you.
I did like that it was kind of like, hey, there are two bad options here. Which of these two bad options are you going to pick?
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't think of disbanding as a bad option until like Ferelden were so on board with it. And I was like, well, maybe this is a bad option because they are pushing for it hard. And so I was like, I thought it'd be a good thing because, we were formed for one purpose. That purpose was over. But if you doofuses don't want me around anymore, maybe I need to be around.
All right. So we meet with Liliana, and we find the dead Canary in full armor inside the palace, like invasion type Canary. There's a blood trail, and we follow it and find it in Alluvion, which are the magical mirrors of they're just magical door mirrors like that are tall, and you walk through them and go to a different place. And we thought they were basically extinct. Like we found like 2, right, something like that. Anyway. It leads us to the crossroads. We follow a blood trail through a bunch of alluvions, and end up in the Elven Mountain Ruins somehow.
So the Elven Mountain Ruins is a really fascinating place where like you can see beyond like this massive hillscape, and one of your companions, if you talk with them, it looks like there's this massive green lush all around, and they're like, oh yeah, that's basically poison ivy. And you're just surrounded by poison ivy. You're on this kind of castle-esque type vibe in a mountain. It's really fun architecture. So we eventually find our way out to these ruins, and we find out that this area was created by Fen Harel as a refuge for various elven slaves. Fen Harel, we hear that name a little bit, and it translates to Dreadwolf. In case you have not finished the end of Dragon Age Inquisition outright, Dreadwolf is also what Solas was called by Meredith at the very end of the game before Solas seemingly killed her and drained her of all her power. And then we find out that Fen Harel actually isn't a god, but is instead a mortal, and that the gods were basically banished by Fen Harel from this world, but even those gods weren't actually gods. It was like elven generals and elven mages that had their history and their legacy was just told and retold until they were generals, then they were heroes, then they were kings, then they were legends, then they were gods. And so their legend kept amplifying. And our anchor starts to hurt, and we gain a new ability, which is super fun. We continue encountering a bunch of Qunari as we're just looking for what they are looking for. And we enter a room where there are murals depicting Fen Harel removing the tattoos off of the face of elves, or their slave markings. So Fen Harel seems to be this like savior of elven slaves. And what I really thought is very cool here is you encounter these spirits that are clearly aligned with Fen Harel that have been activated to protect against the Qunari. And I'm guessing you guys had to fight these spirits, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Guess who happened to drink from the well of eternal knowledge and was able to talk to them in ancient Elven
fun.
and bypass that entire fight?
Nice.
So a really fun, like, little bit of lore of, like, you absorb all this knowledge in several missions ago, and now you get to use it here. We also solve a puzzle that it took me so long to figure out because I kept trying to find the correct order. It's just, the puzzle is literally, wherever the beast is looking, that's the light. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was so easy. I didn't even realize it was a puzzle, and I had to come back because that's actually a hidden quest. I'll talk about it later. But there's a bunch of these throughout this area. I didn't even realize that was a puzzle because it was so easy, and so I had to come back and loot that after going and doing the rest of them.
Oh my god. So we eventually kill a bunch of Qunari, we find their orders, and they are to infiltrate Halam Sharal, which is where we're at for our council meeting, and basically blow it up. And the Qunari, meanwhile, are also hunting an agent of Fen Harel that looks like an elven mage that has been opposing them, attacking their forces, and activating the sentries of Fen Harel, hence the spirits that we mentioned earlier, to oppose the Qunari.
Yeah, this the lore here was super cool. What I loved about this is so current elves who are like free have face tattoos. And they're a sign of their freedom, while the elves who grow up in the cities and live in the alienages don't have their face tattoos typically. And I love that, you know, in ancient times when the elves were, you know, kind of had this vast empire, the slaves were the ones with the face tattoos. I thought that was a really very cool bit of like flip-flopping of expectations and norms and that kind of stuff. I thought that was pretty great. But a lot of very cool lore that's dropped. And I thought it's dropped very cleanly and well. Because this could be a very like slow, clunky like lore drops. This entire DLC is basically a lore drop. And it's done very well.
Yep.
Very well.
It's so good.
All right, so we head back into the Winter Palace and let the advisors know what's going on, like this whole situation. We go back and then eventually we go back into the crossroads to follow a group, and then we see a group of Qunari running off in a different direction with a new bridge. And it goes into an alluvion, which leads us to the deep roads. Head into the deep roads and encounter some Qunari and just straight up murder them as they are attacking us. Find some more Qunari killed by a cave-in and encounter a Templar who has joined the Khun. It's having kind of second thoughts about it. We learn from him that a plan called Dragon's Breath, where the Khun are mining a lyrium to strengthen a Cerebes, which is one of their mage users, which is their magic. Just dump all the lyrium into a guy and he does a ton of magic kind of situation. Good news is we can blow up the mine to stop it, so we do. We can choose to kill the Khun Templar or let him find his way out. He dies anyway. Doesn't matter.
Die anyway.
Just how you feel about it. Yeah.
I let him go free, and like he makes it like all of 50 feet, and you're like,
Not that far.
Guess he didn't make it that far.
The good news, his loot is on his body still, which is good.
It is indeed.
It's like, so if you kill him there or you kill him 50 feet down the, you know, he dies 50 feet away, his loot's still there. So we run around finding primers and then setting off explosives and eventually bringing the entire operation down and washes them away with a flood. We make our way back to the alluvion we came from and inform the rest of the Inquisition that we may be at war with the Qunari.
Oopsies.
Yeah, there's a great line. It's like, there's a great line. It's like, does anybody want to tell Liliana that we're at war with the Qunari? Anyone? Me? Just me, huh? Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of a fun little bit, kind of a fun surprise.
Right? All right, so when we come back, we do find an Inquisition soldier and an Orlesian servant got into a little scuffle. We can either detain the servant or the soldier, and meanwhile we find out that the leader of the Khun, Vidisala, can be found through a mirror next to a bookcase, because it's like on the guard, or the guard has it. Or,
There's like a, when you're done with this, meet me here.
Yeah. So then we go back to the crossroads, follow another group into the Qunari, into the Shattered Library.
So all of this kind of opens up in a very linear fashion. So we're kind of coming and going this entire time. You can go back out to the Winter Palace to do crafting, to refill your potions, to upgrade your potions. There's a shop with everything you need in there. While you're kind of going through all this stuff, you're finding schematics and weapons. You can change your party. So it's not like we're going A, B, C. We're going kind of like going A, back to 1, then B, then back to 1. And then as we kind of unlock different things, like we're able to like find these like the little like magic Russian eggs. What are those eggs called? Fabergé eggs that we touch. You touch a Fabergé egg, and then it opens up a new path. And then you go up that new path, and then we're at the new location. And all of these you're able to freely go to and from. The deep roads do flood, but you can go back there after gaining powers to open up a new area if you want to. So all this is very fluid. You can actually spend quite a time in the area. In these areas, or if you're Storm Rage, I'm guessing you went A to F and done.
I did, my favorite section that I have yet to play in Dragon Age Inquisition, because it was like, hey, would you let you just keep moving forward and not move left or right? And I went, yes, please. And it was great.
I very much, at one point I took so many lefts, I made a right. That's how non-linear I made this area. I did upgrade every potion I could. I was missing a potion somehow. I don't know how I missed a potion somewhere in the game, but I did. I was like, well, I'm here and I have infinite gold. Though there was later a weapon that I found that I could have bought for 166,000 or something like that, or it was a shield, and I was like, oh no, I was upgrading my potions. I didn't have enough anyways. But if I had sold everything off, I could have probably. I didn't try. So
I forgot that potions exist outside of healing potions. I haven't used a single potion unless it's a healing one.
I use them all the time. I use the regeneration ones a lot because there's like you can use a regeneration one that also heals the people around you. So you can pop a regeneration potion and then it like heals anyone in the vicinity of you. There is a grenade that will revive your party members and also heal them. So it's like a holy grenade type of situation. So you can do a revive without having to go stand next to them.
3 shall be the number of the counting. Sorry.
So anyways, we get to the Shattered Library, and we enter the library, find a bunch of codex entries all over the place. And it's a library in quotations. It is truly beat up. We do find, I thought was one of the coolest things. If you walk behind one of the buildings, you find a little campsite, and we find Sandal's private diary. So Sandal, you remember from Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 is enchantment. So Sandal had been here. He left his diary, and it says Sandal's private diary, do not read. And then if you do read it, it says enchantment, ? Enchantment. Enchantment. And it has a date for each and every one, and it just says enchantment, a whole bunch of different dates. And then that's
amazing.
You can loot, it's like a treasure chest or a box, and you can find 2 like really high powerful runes in there. You can assume that Sandal made. I thought I absolutely loved it. It was a cool little callback, and like, here's what Sandal's been up to. I love it. So after that, we head down a path and we find a spirit called an archivist. It is very much a Mass Effect like Holobot. It's like 100. I was like, yep. I know these.
Hey, you need some lore that no living character can know? Here we go.
So we learned that this library was once filled with the entire knowledge of the elves. But it has been shattered, and these archivists, while they used to know everything, they have been separated, so they do not know everything anymore. So we have to go talk to the other archivists that we find along the way. Yes, Stormrage?
I really like this section because geometrically and the way that it's organized is fascinating. It looks like a place that is out of time. If anybody's played World of Warcraft, it reminds me of like the Tempest, of these like floating panels between one another. There are alluvians connecting things. It looks like a place that has been ripped to sunders, and then there are these just like chunks that are what they were, but there's things that are like upside down. There are things that just don't quite make sense. It's really cool.
They're like floating bits of library, one would presume. Like you can see them in the distance and see Kunari on them just like wandering around. It's really, really cool. So we head down the path and learn that this was the full knowledge of the elves, shadowed by the creation of the Veil, which is fascinating to learn. We work our way through the library, bopping through alluvians, click on a dragon egg to create a path to the inverted library, fight some Coon along the way, and our anchor keeps getting powered up as we explore. So there's some cool things that we can do with our anchor. First, we can like create a shield around ourselves. Then we can like shoot like magic veil powers out of our anchor. It's pretty crazy and a ton of fun. As we explore the new ability of the anchor, it can be charged up and bluffed on damage, like I said. We continue working our way through the library and finally confront the Vidasala. So the Vidasala is like the big bad, quote unquote, of this expansion. She is some like like a Kunari whose job is basically to control magic. And so if you bring Iron Bull along with you for this, which I brought both Iron Bull and Sarah along with me for all of it, because like one, it had elf stuff, and two, it had Kunari stuff. So I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to bring these two along. And I did, and it was pretty great. And so Iron Bull dropped some like information about, the Vidasala. So she is basically like a mage hunter, and her job is to control magic and keep magic from like either getting out or becoming more powerful and all this kind of stuff. So it turns out that she believes that we're like agents of the Dreadwolf, and we're like, I don't believe I'm an agent of anybody. And she's like, nope, you totally are, and you're just too stupid to know it. And I'm like, well, in my head, I know what's going on because Solus is the Dreadwolf, but in game, the Inquisitor does not know that Solus is the Dreadwolf. So in game, they just know that Solus is missing. They don't know where Solus has gone. And so like us, the player, know that, from a certain point of view, she's probably right. He was one of the kind of the founders of the Inquisition. He helped the Anchor from destroying us. But she wants to, her idea is basically, I'm going to stop this. We have to stop the Dreadwolf because he's the superpower magic thing. We have to stop the Inquisition because they're agents of the Dreadwolf. And then also, while we're at it, let's just go ahead and take over the South because they can't be trusted with magic, because look what they did. They created this giant hole in the sky. This was all their fault. And so we need to murder them all, and so we're going to.
Yep.
We're going to take all these elves from Dragon Age 2 that we recruited to the Coon, and we're going to have them be servants and slaves and use them to like plant bombs everywhere, including like we had some in the Inquisition. They're like in every major town and city in the South, and they're like, we're just gonna blow you all up, and then we're gonna walk on in. What was super cool about this is when you talk to Sarah earlier in the game, she's like, hey, have you noticed anything weird about these slaves? And I'm like, no, they seem like perfectly fine servants and slaves. And she's like, that's just it. Not a one of them are complaining about anything. I asked around, and they don't need a Jenny. Someone always needs a Jenny. And you're like, oh, huh. And then you kind of just like ignore it. And the reason they didn't need it is because all of the servants were actually elven members of the Coon, which I thought was super cool. So she plans on blowing everything up, assassinating everything, killing everybody. And we're like, I guess we have to tell everybody about this, because we're probably to blame for this as well, because we're the ones who brought the elves who brought the bombs, and the bombs came with us. So whoopsie. So we have to go and tell everyone. We aren't able to fight her. She runs off. We fight some of her goons, and then we talk to an archivist who's like, hey, she went off to the Davard. I don't remember. It was a place we can't get to. It's like the middle mirror. There's a middle mirror that we can't get into. And she's like, you just got to go through there. That's where she went. You're welcome. Don't worry about thinking about it anymore. And so we head back to the Winter Palace to, come clean to everybody that they're all going to get blowed up.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about it?
We're back at the Winter Palace. That's a lot.
It's just so good. Like my discussion here is not going to be particularly entertaining because every section ends with such a cool moment, such a cool story. There are many. I think I was pretty clear with like my overall thoughts on Dragon Age Inquisition. That I thought it was generally pretty good, but not my exact cup of tea. This is my exact cup of tea within Dragon Age Inquisition. The story's so tight. There's so much lore. There's so much. Just follow the path, and you'll get the story. I loved it.
And the environments rule. The environments are just super cool. Like all of them are different, and it's great. It's super good. So we go back to the Winter Palace. Liliana tells us the barrels are explosive, also happen to be all over Thedas, because that's great. We tell someone inside the Inquisition was responsible. Then we basically find out what we just found out. Josephine's really upset about the corruption, and and our anchor flares up, and the Inquisitor gets really determined to just finish this once and for all. You just be like, this is what I pick. Where it's like, we did this. We need to fix it.
Yeah, and it's not even
So.
like she's like, yes, this is our fault. We need to fix it. Like, there's kind of like two schools of thought within the Inquisition, which is that, this isn't everybody's fault. This is a problem with all of Thetis, and we didn't create this problem. But then also, they were hiding within plain sight of us. Is also like the anchor at this point, the Inquisitor comes to terms with the anchor is killing her. So, not only do we need to stop the Kunari, but we need to find Solus, who we have learned who at this point the Inquisitor thinks is an agent of the Dreadwolf, and she's like, we need to find Solus so that he can stop this, or we need to stop the Kunari before I die, which is kind of where we get. It's like, we need to stop the Kunari because I'm dying and I don't have very long, so we need to stop the Kunari before the anchor kills me, because it's going to kill me in like 90 minutes. It's kind of what the impression that you get.
All right. So we go to Davarad, and we make our way through this Kunari compound, fighting a bunch of Kunari as we go, eventually find a chamber, and find out that Operations Dragon Breath is quite literally a dragon. Vidicella orders an attack. If earlier in the game, if you sacrifice the Chargers, Iron Bull betrays you here and starts fighting on the side of Vidicella. But since we all didn't do that, we're good.
Oh, thank goodness. That would have bummed me out hard.
Yeah. So if he remains with the Coon, he fights you here.
Oh.
So, even if you've romanced him, apparently, which I read while I was doing this recap.
Nice.
Which is even better, right?
It is even better.
We are given the opportunity to save the dragon as well somehow. I couldn't figure it out. I didn't even try.
I killed that dragon so fast, I didn't even know it was. I mean, it died quicker than like most like basic skeletons. That thing was like.
It wasn't doing the dragon. The dragon wasn't doing well. Honestly, it was not in good shape.
There's a ring of fire that keeps the dragon pinned. If you move the ring of fire using some levers kind of on the edge, you blow something up that's preventing it from moving, then you go and you pull the levers on the gates, it'll let the dragon out.
Yeah, killing the dragons is always the right call, though.
Yeah, it's a dragon. Like, my favorite line was Vidicella yelling in the background. So this is the Inquisition. They kill an innocent beast. And I was like, lady, I've killed like 10 dragons. I'm good.
I literally killed all the dragons in the game. I have made the dragons go extinct again. I did my duty.
Yeah. Yeah. So then once we kill the dragon, she runs off and into the Andaluvian, and we follow her into the Elven Ruins. The Elven Ruins is yet another biome, which is great. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. We follow, this is the... Oh, yeah. We follow into the Alluvian. All of a sudden, the anchor can't be controlled at this point. It just glows up and has to be discharged at times. Otherwise, it blows up and hurts your party.
Such a fun mechanic.
Can I talk about this real quick?
Cool.
This was
Yeah.
legitimately awesome. Because there was also a bunch of fights in here, so you were basically like running around, and then like so throughout the game you would like gain like veil power in your anchor, and then you could do like super powerful attacks with it. Essentially, like they were like each of like your companions had a special power they could do, and then you as the Inquisitor could do two, one based on your class and one that was just like a cool green awesome like sucky grenade. And so basically at this point in the game you were just running around, and almost every single fight you could like launch a tier 1 of like the rift power. It was so much fun. I was just like going like mowing everyone down. It was fantastic.
All right, so we continue to chase her down. She sicks the big Sarabas at us, and that's a big boss. And all of a sudden she basically unlocks all his chains. It says sick him, and then runs through an Alluvian. So we have to fight him. Yes.
As mentioned earlier, in this point, your power charges up so fast, and if you don't use it, it'll explode. I had planned during this boss battle against the Cerebos that I was going to kind of absorb a bunch of it, and then I was going to let it go in one final attack. And I had about 2.5 bars full out of 3 possibility. And then a cutscene triggers, and your powers charge during the cutscene. And so it charged up to full. I couldn't expend it fast enough. So then outside of the cutscene, it exploded, killing my entire party except for me.
Amazing. All right. Go. All right. So we kill the Cerebus, run through the Alluvian. We enter alone, surrounded by Canary statues. Literally, it's a jump scare. It's great. All the Canary have turned to stone. We see Vadisala chase after Solus, and she is turned into stone.
And by a wave of his hand.
He's
the
just
power that he exerts here is something that we genuinely have not seen in Dragon Age. That's like Corypheus level magic. We're just like, nope, you're done. And it was crazy to watch in real time.
I mean, it was literally Corypheus level magic because of what we have learned and will continue to learn throughout the rest of this expansion.
So the anchor flares up, and the Inquisitor is put on their knees, unable to move. Solus calms the anchor, and then says, "We have enough time to talk." And Solus gives some of the most interesting, well-written, well-executed backstory as a monologue, and how his name has always been Solus. But he then grew, he basically was given the insult of Fen Harel, and he took that name on himself, and it ended up similar to the rest of the elven gods, becoming a name of a god, of Fen Harel the god, but it's just Solus. When the Evanarius, which are the elven gods, again in heavy air quotes, they decided to kill Mythal, another god, and wanted to destroy the world. It is also important to note that they're talking about this time frame within this world where there is no veil. So gods exist on the same plane that we have. There is no fade and there is no real world. Everything is intertwined. So demons right everywhere. Demons are everywhere. Gods are everywhere. Magic is everywhere. There's no flow of magic. It is simply intertwined with the existing world, which is also awesome. Very cool lore drop. Very cool thing that this was not always the way the world was constructed. So Fen Harel then creates the veil. So Solus created the veil in order to banish the elven gods from this world. But this caused the elves to fall, taking away their culture and their immortality because they did not have that connection to the Fade and to the magic that they had always had, which is why places like the Shattered Library, the Elven Mountain Ruins, are in ruins because they were built using magic, and when that connection severed, that structure, that literal buildings that their society was built on, shattered. So Solus wakes up a year before the Inquisition after falling asleep after creating the veil and is horrified by what has happened and how low the elves have fallen, and talks about how he doesn't even view us as an actual elf and that elves are mere imitations of what elves used to be. Fantastic. Oh God, I love all this lore. It's so good. So Solus wakes up, and he stored his power in this device, but he's too weak to open it. So he gives the anchor and the orb to Magister Corypheus. And he says, well, Corypheus will open it because he has the power, and then the orb will kill him, so then I'll take it back and I'll gain my power back. But Corypheus doesn't die when it gets opened. So instead, Solus joins the Inquisition to save Thedas and stop Corypheus. Then he goes on to explain that he left the Inquisition afterwards and that the Inquisition itself has become corrupt. And I think my favorite line in this, and the line that genuinely changed my determination of the final decision, was the only reason the Qunari didn't succeed in their plot is because their spies in your organization tripped over my spies in your organization, so I found out their plot and stopped them. And so he then kills the Qunari, puts it on your doorstep, and assumes that you will figure it out, which of course, being the Inquisitor, we do so. His big plan at this point is to restore the elves by destroying the Veil and reconnecting the Fade to our current realm, which will basically kill everything. Everyone and everything that we know, by and large, will die. It'll also bring back the elven gods, it'll connect to the demons, and he doesn't care. The anchor flares up one final time, and Solus, depending on your action, will either leave you to die and take off your arm, or he'll take it off somewhat gently and remove the anchor from you. Either way, you no longer have, basically, the forearm down on where your anchor was at. What did you guys think about this lore drop?
I thought it was so cool. It was really, really, really good.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Solus is kind of awesome because he was just very much like a revolutionary freedom fighter who, you know, kind of lived long enough to become the villain, basically, where he he woke up from his long sleep and was, hated what he saw, and so is willing to destroy everything in order to, bring back the world he knew. It also brings like a whole new meaning to the Veil Guard because he is essentially, or we will essentially be the Veil Guard. I'm not sure how that's going to be, but like the name of the expansion, the Veil Guard, now makes a whole lot of sense because, are we guarding the Veil or whatever? It's just fantastic. Solus and I were besties, so he it was this very much like, this isn't who you are. I know who you are. I'm going to save you. We're going to bring back the Solus that we know. So. And then he gently takes off my arm and I go back and I have, just the one arm left, the right arm. And as an archer, that's a bit of a bummer, but don't worry, I killed all the dragons already, so we're good.
So I determined I am going to kill you, end you, whatever. I was like anti-total, and it was one of those things where he leaves me. The thing acts up again. It's crawling up your arm, and he leaves you. So it's up to you to cut off your own arm to survive.
Oh, that's crazy. That's fun. Good. That's cool.
Yeah, but you don't notice until it literally fades to black and then fades into the next scene, which we do. So.
Then we head back to the Winter Palace, and we can decide as we are presented, hey, do you want the Inquisition to end? And there are a couple of different options, and the basic option is either you can choose to keep the Inquisition, knowing the risks of it being basically infiltrated by everybody's spies, or you can end the Inquisition, which will make you and your allies significantly weaker because you will not have the resources of the Inquisition, but it will be a safer operation because you will know exactly who's in it and you're not worried about spies because it's basically going to come down to the companions is how it seems. And what did you guys choose? What did you end up choosing?
Matt, what'd you do?
Keep the Inquisition, but under Liliana's thumb.
Why? I'm curious why.
Because I felt like she was making most of the decisions anyway in my playthrough, so I'm like, she's fine. So,
Dano?
I disbanded the Inquisition at the end, and it was kind of like just double birds. I'm gonna do this on my own, and I'll save Solus. I'll save the world, by myself again, the way I have to do it. I don't need any of your help. That's what I did.
I also disbanded the Inquisition because Solus said something in it that'll be in my kind of the 3 question segment later, but he said something to me that I was like, oh, I'm roleplay wise, that's what I'm going to play into. And so I disbanded the Inquisition because I didn't think that the way to stop Solus was with resources, it was with connection. And I was like, the easiest way to do that is admit, hey, I've lost my power, I've cut my power, I'm just trying to find and save you. And it was a really interesting choice. The entire time I was confident that I was going to keep the Inquisition around, and then the very last scene tilted me the other way, and I was like, well, apparently there's a lot of spies in my organization. I'd rather go it on my own.
Yep, that's kind of what I was thinking as well. It was really cool. It was fun. It was a fun choice. You only had the 2 options, and so you had 6 options, but only 2. You had keep it under the, keep the Inquisition, but it'll be under the direction of the Chantry, or disband the Inquisition. When you kept it under control, there were more chances of sabotage, but it would be stronger. Or if you disbanded, then it would be a weaker organization, but less chance of infiltration. And then then you had 3 different options for each, and to how you spoke to the leaders of Thetis, essentially. And I was like, I'm done with all of you. I'm tired. I literally saved all of you. And you're like, all right, yeah, next, please. I was like, I'm just done with you all.
Then we get a epilogue and an epilogue scene that tracks every character's next couple of years past the Inquisition. I don't think we need to go through each of those because that would take so long. Because this credit scene took so long. But then we end with a final post epilogue scene. Matt or Dano, do you want to talk about the final post epilogue scene?
Yeah. So Go ahead.
No. Please do.
All right. Yeah. So after the post-credit scene, the Inquisitor meets with the Liliana, Scout Harding, and Cassandra, and it looks like a prison in the basement of Chantry, to figure out how to deal with Solus. If the Inquisition disbanded, everybody's wearing different clothing. If you're still with the Inquisition, everybody's wearing the formal wear. So, Inquisitor vows to stop Solus by any means necessary, or stop Solus or save him, depending on what you chose. And then basically stabs a dagger into the heart of Tevinter, and then they roll credit, and then that's the end. They say stab Tevinter. Hey, our next game's going to start in Tevinter. Okay.
Yep.
So
30 years from now,
happens.
after we go through development hell and try to make it an MMO, they had they should have been 4 years, and we're getting right into this. We know exactly what it's been. A Mass Effect 2 and 3 situation where they just jumped right into it. We know exactly what to do. We created a fantastic game. All we have to do is tweak it to make it better. And instead they were we need all the money forever instead of a good game. And it's you guys suck. But anyways, it was such an awesome end. I loved it. There was one credit I do want to talk about. Is I'm not sure if everyone gets this or just if you say you want to be a Red Jenny, but there is a scene with Sarah and the Inquisitor where the Inquisitor has a crossbow attached to her stump, and her and Sarah are off Red Jennying around, and it is
very fun. I didn't get that.
It is so cool. I was like, perfect playthrough. And honestly, this was my perfect playthrough. I don't think I would change how I did anything in this game. I don't even know if I'll play this game through again. I hit everything I wanted to hit. I hit every companion the way I wanted to do it. This was perfect. It was so much fun. And the ending was fantastic. And the epilogue was it was such a great epilogue as well. And we didn't give the best part, which was Cassandra getting the book about the... So at the end of the post-credit scene, did you guys see this? Where Cassandra... So at the end of the post-credit scene, she gets a book from Varric, and it's some crazy what in the world happened or something like that. And it's a brief introduction of each and every character. And then when it gets to Cassandra, it's this insane version of her, because it was, Varric basically making fun of her. And she goes, "What is this? I'm in the book. I'm in the book." I'm reading the out of this. It was so good.
Cassandra being the ultimate Varric fanboy, it's great.
Their relationship, honestly, is one of the better parts of the game. Also, there was
the better parts of the best last two games, honestly.
100%. Though Sarah and Cassandra, if you bring those two along with you at all, like, it's quite obvious that, like, Cassandra, like, values Sarah a lot, especially if she's like the in charge of the chantry. And so you kind of hints very strongly that she wants her to, like, be part of like the left hand or something like crazy like that. And one of the epilogues is that, you know, she, you know, leaves that open for Sarah to come and to serve as part of the chantry again later. Very cool, very fun. I had a lot of fun with this one. A lot of fun.
Hello, old friend. Let's meet for tea after the match, shall we?
Storm Rage, do you want me to get this one?
Oh, sure.
Slurp, slurp, slurp.
There we go.
Very
there
nice,
we
very
go.
nice. That was good. No, that was good. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and make that red from now on.
I'm just...
Matt, what'd you do?
I don't know. I just did the story thing. That's all. I like literally what I wrote down is what I did. Quite honestly, you know, honestly, one of my favorite scenes was the bath scene with Vivian, where she has. We didn't talk about the cheese wheels.
We didn't talk about the cheese wheels. Do you want to talk about the cheese
What
wheels?
are
Matt?
the cheese wheels for? What are the cheese wheels for?
They're obviously cucumbers.
No, they're. I mean, yeah, but they're cheese.
There are cheese. And then what's funny is the Inquisitor's, what's with the cheese wheels? And Vivian's like, darling, you have to go out more.
Yeah.
They have a spa day.
Meanwhile, Sarah's just causing chaos in the background. It's amazing. It's such a great
it was
scene.
very funny.
Storm H, how about you?
I didn't do anything. It was great. I did the thing, and I did the quest, and that was it. 10 out of 10. Dano?
I did all the things. I did everything. There were a bunch of secret quests. I did them all. There were. It was so great. So there were a bunch of ways to gain stats, and so there were 5 paintings that were crooked around the Winter Palace, and if you fix them, it would give you a bonus to strength or constitution or something like that. I don't remember what. And then there were 4 hidden paintings. 5 of those like spy clowns, and these spy clowns were tough to find. So the spy clowns would be hanging around, and if they saw you, they would disappear. So you had to sneak up behind them. And so I spent at least an hour like running around to find all the spy clowns, but I got bonus to dexterity, which I use dexterity as a stat. So I definitely found those spy clowns. And when you find those spy clowns, then you get a really cool weapon schematic. So I did that. And then there were like 9 different bones you could find around the area to give to Colin's new dog. And each time you gave that. Oh, so it was strength for paintings, constitution for the bones. So I got a whole bunch of bones for my constitution, which was fantastic. And then just like that one puzzle that you found, Storm Rage, where it was the Dread Wolf is looking at the one you have to light. There were a handful of those. So each different area had its own like lighting puzzle. And so I didn't realize there were lighting puzzles at first until I couldn't figure out what in the world was with these 5 like torches that were just like in one area. And I was like, you can't light them. What are these things? And so I looked it up and it's like, oh, they're these torch puzzles. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And this one was insane. So this one, you had to leave someone at the exit to the area, put someone up at the top, have like push a button, and then have someone leave the area, and then those torches would be lit. And so you go and light a torch, and you go back up, and then you cut the torch that the Dreadwolf was looking at, and then find the thing. There were 4 of those, and those were super fun to find. One of them was hidden behind like a door you had to open with your hand power that you gained later on. So you had to return to a previous area and then shoot the hand power. It was great. Had a ton of fun finding all that, and then got some sweet weapon schematics to do that, including, I think that one was the one where I got the where I got the schematic for like the super cool, most powerful bow. And then later I found a rune that would add, so like there is a potion for bees. And so you can add that to your weapon. So there was a high chance that it would cause bees whenever you attacked. And so I did that, and it was a whole bunch of fun. Though it was definitely only good for melee, so it wasn't quite as much fun because the bees would just fly around me, basically. But it was still fantastic and awesome, and I loved it. Forgot my armor once, and that made it more difficult. It's like, how did this stuff get so powerful all of a sudden? I wasn't wearing armor. So I would put my armor back on, and it was much easier. I respect Iron Bull to be a tank because Blackwall was dead, and I wanted to bring Iron Bull with me and not Cassandra, so I made him a tank. He was fantastic as a tank. Just didn't use any of his Reaver powers. And then, did you guys find the special ring to help you finish the expansion if you were having problems? There was literally a ring of invulnerability where, like, one of your...
Oh, yeah.
or one of your
I
characters
used that.
couldn't take damage.
You can't take physical damage. That's what it was. You just like have to avoid the circles.
So I did find that as well. It was right before you went to the dragon, so that was that. So I loved all the stuff to find. I loved all the little it just rewarded exploring so much because there were so many things like the sandal stuff and like just so many cool little things sprinkled in when you went behind a building or you just like went to the right instead of the left, or when you just looked for that extra thing. There were so many cool little tidbits of lore or cool schematics or weapons or it was a ton of fun. I had a blast with this and doing all the extra things, and yeah, it was great. It was really, really fun.
Taste my grilled cheese.
Much.
Hey there, Matt. What's our first good?
First good is just the underlying thread of of the Inquisition. It was like, does the Inquisition need to stick around? Are we the baddies? Is the real question, of this entire expansion, and it did it really, really well.
Yeah, it was very much, when an organization gets large enough, it also kind of becomes corrupt, was a question that I think was posed throughout the entire expansion. I thought it was really cool. Mm-hmm. Really cool question. I've got the not so good, and there is a fireworks mini game that you can play in between, like, after you tell everyone at the Winter Palace that Thetis is about to get blowed up afterwards, and everyone averts it. There is some fireworks that you can light off just because it's nighttime and they're, celebrating everyone being together. And so you can light fireworks, and then if you detonate them at their peak, you get points. And the more points you get, the cooler stuff you can get. And so you get 0 to 25, you get one thing. 26 to 50, you get something else. 51 to... It wasn't 75. It was 80 something. So it wasn't exactly quarters, but anyways, you get the idea. And then if you max out, you get this other thing. I got to 86 or something like that and got the schematic, which is what I wanted. But I couldn't figure out, I couldn't get any higher than that. And so I went and looked it up, and it's actually impossible to get 100 without using a cheat, because there's a point in the fireworks where 3 or 4 get lit at the same time. And you can't detonate all of them at their peaks because they were sent at the same time when they detonate together. And so it's impossible to get a 100 and get the final thing, which I found very frustrating. So the fireworks minigame is impossible to get a perfect score on, but you can still do pretty good on it. So not a bad, not so good. What's our best good?
There's no open world elements. And that's perfect. I think that's the main takeaway for why this DLC is so great, is there's not 1 ounce of open world, and everybody agrees with that. Yay!
I don't think that's right. I don't think that's what made it good.
It's in the document, and I can't lie. I can't type lies.
I mean, there's a reason why you weren't here last week, right?
What? It says worst good? Oh my gosh.
Oh
no. What's the real best good?
It's such a tight story. It's just the story itself is very clear. It's concise. It introduces a ton of information. It respects the player's knowledge as you pick things up. It's just so well written. It's great.
He asks each traveler 5 questions. 3 questions. 3 questions.
That's a magic number.
Matt, what did you like?
Every biome is just incredibly well done. It's just so good. It's really good. Especially the deep roads. I think honestly, this is my favorite version of the deep roads. And I think I said that 2 weeks ago about the previous time we did the deep roads. But this one's just really good, especially because I was fighting people on cliffs in the deep roads, and like I didn't do that in the other one, and I did that this one. I'm like, I need more fighting on cliffs. This is fun.
When you have a backflip power as your most powerful attack, let me tell you what, those cliffs get awful dangerous because you flip off them a lot.
Sounds like a skill issue. Storm Rage, what are you liking so far?
When Dragon Age tells a streamlined story of like point A to point B, and they focus on the story, and like the game mechanics in this, I also think are good, to be fair, but the story is clearly the focus, and there's just so few things that can match like this level of BioWare when they really dedicate themselves to a story rather than experience. It's so good. It's just so well done. Dano, how about yourself?
The puzzles in the Meryl Mirror section was a ton of fun. The Meryl Mirrors, the whatever those giant mirrors are called. I like those puzzles were a ton of fun. I am not typically a huge fan of those kind of puzzles, but I didn't think that they were super complicated, except for the one where you had to kind of backtrack into a second zone. That one I thought was kind of ridiculous. But the rest of them were simple enough to figure out. I would say most of the quests, the fact they were hidden was fine, and they were pretty easy to figure out, though. Like with the paintings and that kind of stuff, and like the clowns, the paintings especially, because you didn't get like a reward after it was done. So you didn't know when you were done with the quest because it was a hidden quest, quote unquote. So there wasn't like a quest line for it. But the rest of them, like when you got enough bones, you got like a cool weapon. It was like a ham shank as a mace. And it would like, when you would hit people, it had a chance to cause bees. And for the clowns, you also got something so you knew when those quests were done. So I thought all that kind of stuff was just a lot of fun. What did you struggle with, Matt?
They covered a lot. They covered a lot of lore and a lot of stuff going on here. There was a lot to follow. There was a lot of plot to thread, like a lot of thread plots that were happening at the same time. And I struggle with that, especially after like taking a break in the middle. And then, so that's why one reason I was kind of glad I did the recap so I could figure out what the heck happened. Because I needed that. Because there was a lot going on. That's the only thing I really struggled with. Stormage, how about you?
I've now finished Dragon Age Inquisition. I know I haven't done every section, but I've basically finished Dragon Age Inquisition. Where did all my friends from Dragon Age 2 go? We see Varric, we see Hawk. That's it. And there were so many cool characters from Dragon Age 2, and I don't know if it was the fact that I didn't import or what, but I really expected Dragon Age 2 characters to like at least make an appearance somewhere at some time, and they just don't. And considering that was my favorite installment of the series so far, pretty big bummer for most of them to never make an appearance. Dano, what are you struggling with?
I'm gonna double down on that because that is a big miss. I think from Origins to 2, most of the characters, the only two really worth hanging on to for the most part were Liliana and Alistair, and you basically do. The rest of them were like, they were fine, but they were whatever.
Like, even Morgan doesn't get that much.
Yeah, and Morgan's fine, and she's, I like that she gets, but yeah, Morgan's good, I guess. But Dragon Age 2, the characters are all basically awesome. I agree with you 100%. The fact that we don't get more callbacks from Dragon Age 2 to Inquisition, again, like it's this idea that the world is the characters, not the characters in it, I think is kind of the idea. But honestly, especially when we dive, like when Meryl mirrors become like such a huge part of the game. How is Meryl not part of the game? When Meryl was a fascinating character with a fascinating story. So how do you just never bring Meryl back? Like, and we get Varric and we get Cassandra, and that's great. And I love that we get them. But like, yeah, Matt.
Meryl could have worked with Solus. Meryl could have worked with Solus and been like,
100%. She could have been an agent of Solus. It's been so easy too, right? Like, and so I do think it's super disappointing. I'm on your side there, Storm Rage. Not bringing back the characters from Dragon Age 2 is super disappointing. What surprised you, Matt?
How well the DLC just put the final bow onto the top of this game, and like really sets up Veilguard really well. Spoiler: I might have started a little bit of Veilguard.
Nice.
So it's fun for the first 10 minutes are fun. So, Storm Rage, what surprised you so far?
There were just some genuinely really interesting twists and turns, and the insane amount of lore that we finally get about the world is excellent. I think Solus, his story, made me consider. I'm not going to, but made me consider going back to play Dragon Age Inquisition from the beginning, just to see Solus from an entirely different perspective, right? And my favorite line in this DLC, as somebody that loves to talk people out of combat and find different ways to resolve conflict within video games, is you can choose when you're at the end that Solus is like, I'm gonna tear down the veil, I'm going to restore the world that I lost, and you can say, I'm going to save you, and I'm going to show you that what you're doing is wrong. And he looks at you and he says, you've proved me wrong time and time again. You've proved to me the worth of mortals. I hope you're able to do so again. And walks away. And that's such a cool line of like a villain who wants to be wrong, but firmly believes that their action is the only action they can take. It was awesome. I liked it a lot. Dano, what surprised you?
I had the same line. I said the same thing. And cannot wait to see if they can follow up on that in the Veilguard, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Because if they can, holy moly. I honestly can't wait to play this game. And that's what surprised me was how absolutely amazing the ending was. How absolutely amazing Solus was at the end of this game. How cool Solus is throughout the entire game. Like once you kind of know everything, you kind of look back on all the things Solus said and did with a completely different light. That is so cool and so interesting. The post-credit scenes I absolutely loved. I do love the Dragon Age post-credit scenes. I do wish they had been narrated. I can't imagine it would have been that hard to narrate them. That bummed me out that they weren't narrated. But other than that, I thought the ending of this game was absolutely perfect. I don't know that I could have changed it in any way, or I would have wanted to change it in any way, and legitimately excited to play Veilguard. And am even more annoyed at how long it took them to get Veilguard out, and the fact that they just couldn't follow through. It's just like it's just corporate control over video games is just so frustrating. Because yes, they're big money but they're still art and they're still stories, and like, just let people tell good stories with their games and they will make money. But like, this idea that like, if you're not like wringing every cent out of something, it is somehow a failure is just so frustrating and so wrong. But anyways, I can't wait to play Veilguard. I'm legitimately excited, whether it's fantastic or awful, no matter what. I can't wait to see where it goes. So, hold on.
You want to buy some death sticks?
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
Is Storm Rage still a game to a friend?
Dragon Age Trespasser is one of the best BioWare DLCs.
Matt?
Peak BioWare.
This is the best BioWare DLC. It's just outstanding. Next week, we are going to beep a beep game. I hope you all join us in Dispatch. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks to our patrons and Twitch subs for patronizing us. You can find links to our Discord and our content information, the link tree in the description of this episode.
Dragon Age Inquisition Trespasser is a game and is very fun.
Yeah! Let's end an Inquisition, baby.
This is the end of the show. Everybody bye!
It was legitimately a fun end. Fun end.
That was great. That was a fun
Just
game.
a dang good time. Just a dang good time.
I don't think I'm not going to be able to not finish Dispatch in the next couple of days, by the way. So, like, I'm almost done with Act 3. I'm not going to be able to stop. So I think what I'm going to do is just finish the game and then go back and play the chapters again before we record.
Yeah.
Especially because I think I can do things better as well. So, are you guys screenshotting all of your decisions so you can go back and look at them when we did with
There's a menu option that allows you to see what decisions.
Oh, is there? Okay, I'm just screenshotting everything I did.
Yeah. So you can go back.
Okay. Good to know.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to talk about Dispatch, guys. It's such a silly game that has such good heart. I love the story of Dispatch.
And the actual game part of it, like the game parts of it, are actually shockingly. We'll talk about it.
Fun,
but like, they're fun.
I'm gonna preview Dispatch with just one thing. I have never been as emotionally devastated in a way that felt incredibly rewarding than one single moment in Dispatch in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
I know exactly what
and
you're
I will
talking
give
about.
no indications as to what or when that is.
It's the donut, right?
It's a donut.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is an important choice to make in the game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, what happens to the donut, though?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, heartbroken. All right. That's it. We'll talk at you again next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.